It was a normal summer Friday night, and I was sitting on the couch as usual with a cold Corona beer in my hand and the Yankees-Red Sox game on TV. It was supposed to be a nice, relaxing evening, but for some reason I felt a twinge of uneasiness deep inside me, as if I had a feeling that something was about to happen, like the calm before a storm. Tracy came home just as I was finishing my last sip of beer. She came into the living room and I looked up at her and tried to give her a kiss like I always do, but she seemed preoccupied and turned her face slightly away from me. "Honey, are you okay?" I asked with concern. Tracy didn't answer immediately, but slowly sat down at the other end of the couch. Silence reigned in the room, with only the sound of the television humming in the background. I reached over and turned off the TV, turning to face Tracy with a growing sense of unease. "Bob, we need to talk." Tracy finally spoke, with a hint of trembling in her tone. I want to experience romance with another man. I feel like our marriage has lost its passion." I felt a wave of dizziness, a buzzing in my ears, as if someone had hit me in the head. "What did you say? You want to cheat on me?" I asked incredulously, my voice shaking with anger and pain. Tracy shook her head, tears in her eyes. "No, I'm not trying to cheat. I just want some freshness, some excitement. We've been married for 21 years, and it's been so comfortable that I feel like I'm lost." I felt a surge of anger in my chest and a deep sense of powerlessness. How could our marriage have come to this? We used to love each other so much and be so happy. I tried to suppress my anger and said as calmly as I could, "Tracy, you know how much I love you, and we can work together to rediscover our passion. But I can't accept you going out with other men, even if it's just to experience the so-called romance." Tracy lowered her head and tears slid down her cheeks. "I'm sorry, Bob. I know this is hard for you to accept, but I feel like I have to do this for me and for our marriage. If we don't make some changes, I'm afraid we'll end up breaking up." I stood up and felt a wave of dizziness and nausea. "Are you blackmailing me? You're going to leave me if I don't let you date other men?" My voice trembled with anger. Tracy stood up too and looked at me with teary eyes. "No, Bob, I'm not blackmailing you. I'm just trying to be honest about how I feel. I love you and I don't want to leave you, but I can't go on like this. We need some change, some excitement, or our marriage is going to end sooner or later." I felt a sense of despair and powerlessness, as if the whole world was falling apart under my feet. I took a deep breath and tried to control my emotions. "Look, Tracy, I need some time to think about this. I can't give you an answer right now. I need to calm down and think about our marriage, our future." Tracy nodded and gently took my hand. "I understand, Bob. Just think about it. Whatever you decide in the end, I'll respect your choice. I love you, and I just hope we can find a way to get through this together." I didn't answer, but walked silently to my bedroom. I needed to be alone to think about this sudden crisis. How had my marriage to Tracy come to this? We used to be so in love, so happy, but now, everything seemed to have changed. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew I had to make a decision that would determine the fate of our marriage. I tossed and turned in the bedroom, and our 21 years of married life kept flashing in my mind. We met, we fell in love, we got married, the birth of our child. Every single moment was so beautiful, so happy. But now, all this seems to have become a passing cloud. Tracy's words like a sharp knife, piercing my heart. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal with this crisis. I love Tracy and I don't want to lose her, but I can't accept that she's seeing other men. It was a betrayal, a hurt I couldn't bear. Late at night, I lay in bed, listening to the insects and birds chirping outside my window, but my heart was in turmoil. I knew that I had to make a decision that would change our lives. But whatever choice I made, it would be a difficult process that would bring pain and struggle. I closed my eyes and tried to calm myself. I knew that tomorrow morning, I would have to face Tracy and the future of our marriage. But tonight, I just wanted to be alone, to think, to face my inner struggle and confusion. Outside the window, the summer night wind blew gently, bringing a hint of coolness. I wrapped the blanket tightly and prayed silently in my heart, hoping that God would give me guidance so that I could find a way out, so that Tracy and I could get through this difficult time. and regain the happiness and beauty of our marriage. The next morning, I was awakened by the commotion in the kitchen. Tracy was already up and preparing breakfast. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the conversation from last night still echoing in my head. I knew that I had to make a decision that would determine the fate of our marriage. I got up, washed up, and walked into the kitchen where Tracy was frying bacon and eggs, and the smell of the food made my stomach flutter with nausea. I took a deep breath and pulled out a chair and sat down. "Tracy, I want to talk to you about last night," I said as calmly as I could. Tracy turned off the stove, put the fried food on a plate, and sat down across from me. Her face was tired and worried, and her eyes were slightly red, as if she hadn't slept all night. "I hear you," she whispered. I took a deep breath and organized my words. "Tracy, I've been thinking all night that I can't accept you going out with other men. It's a betrayal to me, a hurt I can't bear. I know our marriage is in trouble and we need some changes, but it shouldn't be fixed by cheating." Tracy lowered her head and tears slid down her cheeks. "I understand, Bob, and I know this is hard for you to accept, but I'm really confused and I don't know what to do. I love you, but I also feel like our marriage has lost its passion and vigor. I don't want to hurt you, but I can't go on like this." I felt a pang of heartache, and seeing Tracy cry was like having my heart ripped out of my chest. But I knew I had to stand my ground. "Tracy, if you're going to go out and date other men, there's only one way out of this. I don't want to talk about divorce, but if you insist, I have no choice." Tracy looked up at me, teary-eyed. "Do you really want a divorce, Bob? Do you really want a divorce, Bob? Are you really willing to give up our 21-year marriage just because I want something new?" I closed my eyes and tried to control my emotions. "No, Tracy, I don't want a divorce. I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But I can't accept you dating other men. That's the bottom line for me. If you have to cross that line, then we'll have to go our separate ways." Tracy was silent for a long time, tears slipping from the corners of her eyes. Finally, she took a deep breath and looked up at me. "Okay, Bob, if that's your decision, I respect it. Let's just get a divorce. I don't want to do this anymore, and we both need a fresh start." I felt a stabbing pain, as if someone had stabbed me in the heart. But I knew that this was a choice I had to make. Our marriage had come to an end, and we both needed relief. Over the next few weeks, we began the divorce process. Our children were shocked at the news and tried to convince us to change our minds, but our decision was already made. We calmly explained the reasons to them and told them that it was not their fault and that we would always love them. The divorce process was not easy. We had to deal with property division, child custody, and a host of other issues. We also tried marriage counseling, but finally decided to separate. I moved out of our house and started living alone. At first, it was hard to get used to, and I often felt lonely and isolated. I would think of Tracy in the dead of night and the good times we had. But I knew that our marriage was irreparable, and I had to move on and start a new life. A few months later, our divorce was finalized. Tracy and I were officially strangers, and our 21 years of marriage had come to an end. I knew that this would be a major turning point in my life, and that I would be embarking on a whole new journey from here on out. Standing outside the courtroom, I took a deep breath and looked up at the blue sky. I know that there is still a long way ahead of me, and many unknowns and challenges are waiting for me. But I am ready to face the future bravely and find my happiness and joy. Dear Tracy, thank you for being there for me for 21 years. We can't continue our marriage, but I will always miss our time together. I wish you all the happiness in the world, and may you find a wonderful life for yourself. And I, too, will start my new journey. I don't know what the future holds, but I believe that as long as I stay strong, and as long as I don't give up my pursuit of happiness, I will find my own piece of sky. Goodbye, Tracy. Goodbye to my past. Now it's time for me to start a new life. Life after divorce was not as easy as I thought. Even though I had prepared myself psychologically, I still felt a sense of bewilderment and helplessness when I was confronted with an empty room and a cold life. For the first few weeks, I was a mess. I often drank alone at home and looked at photos from the past. I didn't know how to face this new world, how to start my life again. But little by little, I began to realize that I couldn't go on like this forever. I had to pick myself up and start a new life. I began to reorganize my future and to think about what I really wanted. I decided to start with my job. I quit my old job and found a new sales job. The job was hard, but it gave me a new rhythm and purpose in life. I started to go out early and come home late, devoting myself to my work. Gradually, my life got busy again. I started to make new friends and participate in various social activities. I signed up for fitness classes and began to focus on my health. I even picked up my guitar, which I hadn't touched for years, and started learning to play. Life began to shine again, and I felt a sense of fulfillment and joy that I hadn't felt in a long time. I began to really enjoy my time alone, my time with myself. I began to know myself again, to understand myself, and to discover new possibilities in myself. Of course, I think about Tracy and the kids from time to time. I'll call or message them on holidays or birthdays to find out how they're doing. I know that even though we are separated, they will always be the most important part of my life. As time went by, I started to rethink my love life. I began to try dating, meeting new women through friends or the internet. At first, I was a bit nervous and uneasy, but gradually I began to let myself go and learn to enjoy the process of dating. Although there were some unpleasant or awkward experiences, I generally enjoyed re-entering the world of relationships. I began to experience the thrill of love again and began to envision what the future might hold for me. In this way, my solitary life gradually got on track. I have rediscovered the rhythm and joy of life, the value and direction of myself. I know that divorce is only a chapter in my life, not the end. I still have a long way to go, and there are infinite possibilities waiting for me. In retrospect, although my divorce has caused me pain and confusion, it has also given me a chance to reacquaint myself with myself and make a fresh start. It made me realize that my happiness should not depend on others, but should come from myself. It taught me to be independent, to love myself, and to face the unknown future with courage. Dear Tracy, thank you for all the love and companionship you once gave me. Although our marriage is over, I will always miss our time together. I sincerely wish you the best of luck and hope that you will find your own happiness too. And I, too, will continue my life's journey. I don't know what the future holds, but I believe that as long as I stay strong, as long as I don't give up my love and pursuit of life, I will be able to create a wonderful and beautiful tomorrow. Life goes on, and my story is not yet over. Countless surprises and possibilities await me on the road ahead. So, let's go together to embrace this new world, to write our own wonderful chapter of life. After a few months of being single again, I gradually adapted to being alone. I began to enjoy my time alone and learn to live with myself. My life is busy and full again. Working out, socializing, dating. I try to enrich my life in various ways. However, life is always full of surprises. Just when I thought I had everything under control, fate gave me another unexpected twist. It was a Friday night, and I went to my usual bar. I ordered a scotch and sat quietly at the bar, listening to the soft singing of the resident singer. Just then, the sound of laughter caught my attention. I turned my head and saw a group of girls having a bachelorette party at the other end of the bar. They all looked young, full of energy and vigor. Among the girls, one woman in particular caught my attention. She looked older than the other girls, probably around 40 years old. She had long, shiny black hair, a tall figure, and fair skin. She was wearing a simple but elegant black dress, and her hands and feet were permeated with the charm of a mature woman. Somehow, my eyes lingered on her body for a long time, unable to move away. She also seemed to notice my gaze, turned her head, and my eyes met. She smiled slightly at me, with a hint of friendliness and tenderness in her eyes. In a strange way, I picked up my glass of wine and walked over to her. "Hi, I'm Bob," I said, extending my hand a little awkwardly. "I just noticed you guys were having a party, so I came by to say hi." She smiled and shook my hand. "Hello, Bob.
I'm Kathy.
Nice to meet you." We got to talking. It turned out that they were having a bachelorette party for Kathy's niece, and Kathy was there to supervise as the eldest. We talked about everything from work and hobbies to life lessons. I was surprised to find that Kathy and I had a lot in common, and our conversations were so stimulating and enjoyable. Before I knew it, the party was coming to an end. The other girls were leaving one by one, and Kathy and I were the only ones still talking. I looked at my watch. It was already late at night. "It's getting late, and I should be getting home," Kathy said, with a hint of apology in her tone. "I'll walk you home," I blurted out, then realized my abruptness and added, somewhat embarrassed, "if you don't mind." To my surprise, Kathy agreed. We walked out of the bar together, side by side in the night. I hailed a cab and gave Kathy's address. Along the way, we continued to talk. We talked about our past, about our marriage. It turned out that Kathy had been married before, but divorced 5 years ago. She said she understood what I was going through and how I felt because she too had experienced the pain and confusion of divorce. Life is always full of ups and downs, but I believe that as long as we face it bravely, we can always get through it and find a new beginning, she says gently, with a tone that is particularly infectious. At that moment, I felt a long-lost heartbeat and fluttering. I felt that the woman in front of me might be the surprise, the turning point in my life. The cab arrived at Kathy's house in no time. We exchanged phone numbers and agreed to meet again someday for coffee and a chat. As I watched Kathy walk into the apartment building, I couldn't find peace in my heart for a long time. I knew that tonight's encounter might be the beginning of my new life. This woman, Kathy, may be the one God has arranged for me, the one who can make me feel love and warmth again. I walked slowly through the night, filled with anticipation and longing. I didn't know what was going to happen between Kathy and me, but I knew that I was ready to open my heart to the possibilities. That night, I was back to being the teenager with dreams and visions. I was once again full of expectations for the future, full of love. Dear Kathy, thank you for coming along and making me believe in love and life again. I don't know where our destiny will take us, but I am ready to start this new journey. Maybe we are the surprise in each other's life. Maybe we are the right person arranged by God. Let's walk hand in hand to explore the unknown world, to write a new chapter in our lives. After that accidental encounter, Kathy and I started to go out more often. We drank coffee, watched movies, went for walks, and chatted together. We talked about everything. We shared our past and thought about our future. Gradually, I found myself deeply attracted to Kathy. Her intelligence, her independence, her optimism, her tolerance, all make me feel a kind of unprecedented heart and desire. With her, I feel more relaxed and happy than ever. I can be myself completely and show my true colors without any reservation. At the same time, I also felt Kathy's kindness and appreciation for me. She always listens to my problems patiently, gives me pertinent advice and warm encouragement. She has always been able to use her unique perspective to help me see the true meaning and direction of life. I began to look forward to every meeting with Kathy, and I began to miss her smile, her voice, her laugh. I began to see her in my dreams and to visualize our future in my mind. However, deep down, I also began to feel a hint of uneasiness and contradiction. I had just gone through a failed marriage, and I hadn't quite gotten over the divorce yet. I wasn't sure if I was ready to start a new relationship, and I wasn't sure if I was capable of managing a new relationship. But every time I look into Kathy's eyes, every time I hear her voice, my heart soars uncontrollably. I knew that I couldn't resist her attraction, couldn't resist the fluttering of my heart. While I was hesitating, Kathy took the initiative to extend an invitation to me. She said that her niece was getting married soon, and she wanted to invite me as her date to the wedding. I was a little surprised, but I also felt a tinge of sweetness in my heart. I knew that this was Kathy's way of communicating her feelings to me and her expectations for our relationship. I gladly accepted her invitation. I began to look forward to that special day and began to envision my wedding day with Kathy. On the day of the wedding, I put on my best suit and my favorite tie. I arrived at the church full of excitement and waited with anticipation for Kathy to show up. The moment Kathy appeared in front of the church, my heart almost stopped beating. She was wearing a beautiful purple dress and her hair was elegantly coiffed, revealing a long, white neck. Her face was beaming with happiness and joy, and her eyes were sparkling with excitement and anticipation. At that moment, I knew that I had fallen completely. I couldn't resist the feelings in my heart. I couldn't resist my love for Kathy. I knew that I was ready to start a new relationship, ready to embrace my future with Kathy. The wedding went very well. I was by Kathy's side the whole time, holding her drinks, making toasts, taking care of everything, and Kathy's friends and family raved about what a wonderful and dependable man I was. After the wedding, I drove Kathy home. In the car, she suddenly turned her head and looked at me seriously. "Bob, there's something I want to say to you." There was a hint of nervousness and anticipation in her eyes. My heart pounding, I signaled her to continue. "This time with you is the happiest I've been in years. Your presence has helped me to rediscover the meaning and passion of life. I know that we have both had failed marriages, both have experienced pain and confusion. But I believe that God brought us together to heal and fulfill each other." She took a deep breath, her eyes filled with deep emotion and determination. "Bob, I love you. I want to start a new life with you. I know that we're both still uncertain and have a lot of things to work out. But I believe that as long as we are honest with each other, and as long as we work hard, we will be able to work hand in hand towards a happy tomorrow." Tears blurred my eyes as I held Kathy's hand tightly in my arms. "I love you too, Kathy, and I want to be with you and start our new life together. I know that we have a long way to go and many challenges to face. But I believe that with you by my side, I have nothing to fear. Together, we can create a bright future together." That night, we kissed under the stars, we danced in the moonlight. We knew that we had found each other, the other half of our lives. From now on, we will walk hand in hand and face all the storms of life together. Dear Kathy, thank you for coming into my life and bringing me new hope and strength. I love you, and I will spend the rest of my life loving you, caring for you, and writing the most beautiful chapter of our lives together. Let's go together to start our new life journey, to create our own happiness and joy. A new life has begun and our love has sprouted. Let's water it with love and let it blossom into the most beautiful flower. After the wedding, my relationship with Kathy heated up quickly. We started dating frequently and talking about our future. We both knew that we were smitten with each other, and we were eager to start a new relationship and a new chapter in our lives. But at the same time, we all realized that in order for this relationship to develop healthily, we must take our time, we must trust each other, and we must understand each other. After all, we have all been through failed marriages. We have all been hurt and betrayed. We all need time to relearn how to love and how to trust. We started dating more often and started to learn more about each other. We talked about our past, our families, our dreams. We shared our joys and sorrows, our hopes and fears. Gradually, I began to open up to Kathy, to reveal my deepest secrets and traumas. I told her about my failed marriage, my self-doubt and helplessness. I told her about my fear of the future and my insecurity about love. Kathy always listened patiently and gave me the warmest comfort and encouragement. She told me that I shouldn't blame myself for past failures or punish myself for other people's mistakes. She told me that everyone deserves a second chance, happiness, and love. With Kathy's encouragement, I began to let go of my past hurts and embrace life and love again. I began to learn to trust Kathy, to rely on her, and to share everything with her. At the same time, Kathy began to open up to me. She told me about her past and her pain. She told me that she had been betrayed and had lost faith in love. But she told me that it was my presence that rekindled her hope for love and awakened her deepest desire. That's how we support and heal each other. We soothe each other's wounds with love and rebuild each other's hearts with trust. We know that we are not perfect. We all have our own shortcomings and deficiencies. But we choose to accept each other, tolerate each other, choose to use love to repair, to perfect. Gradually, I began to introduce Kathy to my family and friends. I took her to meet my parents, my siblings. I took her to my birthday parties and class reunions. At first, I was a little worried about how my family and friends would view my relationship with Kathy. After all, we are not young anymore and we both carry scars from our past. But to my relief, everyone loved Kathy and blessed our relationship. They all said they were happy to see me happy again and motivated to live again. My children were initially a little uncomfortable with my relationship with Kathy. They still did not accept the fact that their parents were divorced, and they were a little uneasy about my starting a new relationship. My daughter, in particular, was always distant and wary of Kathy. But Kathy is very smart and attentive. She didn't try to take over as the children's mother, but took her time with them and built a relationship with them. She often took them out to play and ate good food. She listened to them patiently and gave them advice on their lives and studies. Gradually, the children began to accept Kathy and love their new mom. My son, in particular, quickly developed a deep bond with Kathy. He often expresses to me how much he likes Kathy and how much he wants her to be a part of our family. Watching Kathy with my children filled my heart with gratitude and warmth. I know that not only have I found a woman who loves me dearly, but I have also found a loving mom for my children. I know that although we have all been hurt, we will be reborn in love. We both carry the past with us, but we can work together to create a better future. In this way, Kathy and I have grown to love each other more and more. We trust each other, rely on each other, fulfill each other. We work together, face the storms of life together, and share the joy of life together. I know, our feelings still need time to test, still need to experience more wear and tear. But I am ready to use all my energy to make good use of this hard-earned relationship. I have made up my mind that I want to grow old with Kathy, and I want to spend the rest of my life with her every spring and fall. Dear Kathy, thank you for relighting my life and giving me new hope. I love you and I will do my best to take care of you, to protect you, and to walk with you into our bright future. Let's continue to walk hand in hand. To create a happy life belongs to us. Let us use love to water, with a true heart to take care of. Let our love flower, always bloom, always fragrant. Time flies, and the years go by like a shuttle. In the blink of an eye, Kathy and I have been together for 3 years. These 3 years have been the happiest and most fulfilling years of my life. With Kathy's company, I have found the meaning and direction of life again. I have regained the warmth of home and the sweetness of love. In these 3 years, Kathy and I have been through a lot together. We have traveled and explored this beautiful world together. We have taken care of our home and created our little world together. We faced difficulties together and shared our joys together. We support each other, we fulfill each other, and our relationship has grown stronger and purer through the years. My children have grown to accept Kathy and our relationship. They started to talk to Kathy and enjoy the 4 of us together. My daughter is no longer wary of Kathy and asks her questions about her life and studies. My son considers Kathy his confidant and often shares his worries and secrets with her. Seeing the children get along so well with Kathy fills my heart with relief and gratitude. I know that I have not only found happiness for myself, but also a wonderful home for my children. We went through the trauma of divorce, but we were able to rebuild a whole family in love. 3 years have gone by in a flash. Today is the 3rd anniversary of my relationship with Kathy. To celebrate this special day, I decided to give Kathy a surprise. I prepared a candlelight dinner at the bar where we first met. I set the table with my own hands and lit rose-scented candles. I prepared Kathy's favorite dishes and her favorite champagne. When Kathy appeared in front of the bar, my heart was pounding. After 3 years, she was still so beautiful and elegant. She was wearing a black dress, her hair hanging down her shoulders. Her eyes flickered in the candlelight, reflecting my silhouette. "Honey, what's going on?" Kathy looked at everything in front of her with surprise and a happy smile at the corners of her mouth. I went up to her and looked deeply into her eyes. "Today is the 3rd anniversary of our relationship. I want to give you a surprise. In these 3 years, with you by my side, I've realized what true happiness is. You let me have the meaning of love and home again. You let my life full of color again." I slowly got down on one knee and pulled a small velvet box from my pocket. I opened the box and a diamond ring sparkled in the candlelight. "Dear Kathy, will you marry me? Will you be my wife for the rest of your life?" Kathy's eyes glistened with tears. She held my hand tightly as tears slid down her cheeks. "I do, Bob, of course I do. Meeting you and falling in love with you has been the greatest blessing of my life. You made me believe in love and life again. I'd like to be your wife and grow old with you." I put a diamond ring on Kathy's finger and kissed her deeply on the lips. We held each other tightly, tears streaming down our faces. We knew that our new life had just begun. 3 months later, Kathy and I had a simple but heartwarming wedding. We invited our closest family and friends, and with their blessing, we made our vows to be together for life. My children were also present at the wedding. They stood beside us with heartfelt joy on their faces. They knew that not only did they have a new mom, but they also had a new family that was complete and happy. At the wedding, Kathy and I held hands and gave our speeches to the guests. I'd like to thank all of you for coming here today to witness the union of Bob and me. Our love is one that has stood the test of time and hardship. We've both been through low points in our lives, and we've both despaired of happiness. But we didn't give up. We were brave enough to get out of the past, and we rebuilt each other's hearts with love and tolerance. Kathy looked at me fondly, her eyes full of determination and sincerity. Dear Bob, thank you for being in my life. Thank you for giving me new hope and new strength. From now on, we will be side by side, hand in hand, walking together to the next stage of our lives. No matter what storms the future holds, we will face them together and overcome them together. I held Kathy's hand tightly and said my vows to the guests as well. Dear guests, thank you for witnessing Kathy and I's love for each other. Our relationship is one that has been nurtured through trials and tribulations and nurtured in the heart of truth. Though we both carry traumas from the past, we choose to heal them with love and care for them with our hearts. I turned to Kathy and gazed deep into her eyes. Dear Kathy, you are the best gift God has ever given me. Thank you for relighting my life and bringing me infinite warmth and hope. From now on, I will devote all my energy to protect you and love you. Let's create tomorrow hand in hand, and let's grow old together under each other's care. Amidst the applause and blessings from the guests, I kissed Kathy and knew that this moment would be the most precious memory of our lives. From now on, we will write a new chapter in our lives together. From now on, our love will grow deeper and more permanent under the witness of time. Dear Kathy, my dear wife, let's build a future together. Let's guard our hard-earned happiness with love, and let's walk into every spring and fall of our lives in each other's company. It is my great fortune to meet you and love you in this life. Thanks to you, my life has blossomed again. I love you forever. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.